afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. They normally call this the graveyard shift, which is basically you've eaten food and everything, so people are beginning to get drowsy and tired. So what I'll do is try and make this as short and snappy as possible, so that I also give time for the other presenters, and also that you don't go out on my brief presentation. As Robert has correctly mentioned, I represent Standard Chartered's SME business, SME banking proposition. And so what I basically want to say is that Standard Chartered values its partnership with Asian Media Group as well as KPMG, and hence the reason why we continue to sponsor this particular event over the past 2 years. And we do have thoughts towards extending this partnership across our borders in Uganda, Tanzania, and possibly as well. Thank you, Robert. As I was thinking about how to start off this presentation today, I looked back at my past and I remember there was a period in time where the common snack at home would basically, like when I was growing up, was basically a mix of maize and beans. We call it kideri in my own language. And the one at the right at the bottom of the pot was normally the sweetest. And so as we were watching TV, I would go right to the bottom and pick up some kideri and keep chewing away. With time, things have changed, and came an age where around the time when I was thinking about getting married, which was a couple of years ago, fortunately, the fad then was going to the movie theaters. And when you go to the movie theaters, the thing that you will take is actually popcorn. And so you queue on the line with your girlfriend or wife or husband, significant other, whatever it is, and you buy some popcorn as you walk into the movie theater. Now the amazing thing is that more recently, movies in the theaters are beginning to take a bit of a downward trend. I believe you can confess to that fact. And people are now more and more having their entertainment in the house. And I similarly have gone in the same direction. So I've got this nice big screen and some hi-fi, super oofa, all that kind of noisy things that young people like. And the children are now asking me, so where is the popcorn? Where is the entertainment? What do we eat together with as we watch the movies? And again, still being a .com as they call us today, I decided to get this, it's normally in a pack, pre-packed. It's flat, it's imported, it's pre-packed, and you put it in the microwave, and you turn on the microwave, and you sit and watch as the popcorn, as you wait for the popcorn. Now, my younger fellow, who's about 10 years old now, is now eager because the movie is about to start and, hey, the popcorn is not popping yet. And he begins to look and say, Daddy, what's happening? There's nothing happening in the microwave. It takes, by the way, about 3 minutes, 45 seconds to pop good popcorn from the microwave. So he sits there and begins watching. They have this mirror which you can look through the microwave. At least mine does, I'm sure yours does too. And he begins looking and he says, 30 seconds, nothing happening. 60 seconds, nothing happening. Something is wrong that here. I think we better go and get some real popcorn. And it carries on to 180 minutes, seconds, which is like almost 3 minutes. Nothing happening. And then suddenly, it begins to erupt. Pop, pop. And then before long, you start hearing pop, 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 all over the place. And within 3 minutes, 45 seconds, the popcorn is all popped. If you undercook it, it's no good. If you overcook it, then you burnt your popcorn. Why is this relevant to you guys? The reason for its relevance is really the fact that you are participants in the top 100 mid-sized companies means that you've been in the oven. And some of you are at a stage where you're saying nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. But just hold on a little longer. Before you know it, you begin to hear, probably tomorrow, you begin to hear pop. And then before you know it, it begins to go pop, 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 pop. And then before long, you are Club 101, like some people have been. So watch out, your time is coming. So I hope that's a good story to begin my presentation this afternoon. Standard Chartered's proposition to the SME client is really about two things. Two things. Because if you make it complicated, it doesn't help anyone. Two things. What are those two key things? It's about simplicity. What does simplicity mean? I want working capital. And the second thing is about commitment. And I think a previous speaker talked about taking away the umbrella when it begins to rain, or taking away the umbrella when it's too hot. It's about simplicity and commitment. At Standard Chartered, we have basically committed to our customers that we will do these two things. Provide simple solutions to them, and then secondly, we are going to basically be committed and will be there with them for the long haul. How is it that we're going to do this? I want to talk to you about some 4 pillars within Standard Chartered that we have provided and have identified as a source of being able to support our businesses and our customers as they seek to grow their business. You may be growing your top line, your revenues, you may be growing your profitability, but there is one critical statement. That critical statement is exemplified by the first pillar, working capital financing. There is a statement that is so powerful that you probably all know it. Cash is king. Cash is king. You may be making all the profits in the world, but as long as you do not have cash to be able to pay your suppliers and fund your other commitments, then you will soon actually have to close that company. It's probably a scenario where you have basically not gotten support from the bank in terms of working capital. So that's the first pillar. The second one is business expansion. Business expansion, and I'll go into that in a little more detail in a short while. The third one is business protection, and finally, yield enhancements. Those are 4 pillars that we have identified as a bank that you as business people are actually looking for as solutions for the bank. I've already covered this particular one in some detail. That's about working capital. In your day-to-day business, you basically need to pay your suppliers. You basically need to give and sell goods on credit. You basically need to have some stocks, some inventory in your shop, if that's the nature of business that you are actually undertaking. To be able to do that, you basically need working capital. Those are the 3 elements of working capital. Some of you are accountants, and we have wise counsel from KPMG here as well. They will typically tell you that those are the 3 elements that constitute working capital. And if you do not structure it correctly, you will always find yourself in a situation where you're saying, I'm having cash flow issues. It's a common issue that plagues businesses today. But Standard Chartered is basically saying we have a whole range of products and listed on the screen over there, talking about the basic products that we will provide to our customers to meet their working capital requirements. I critically believe that if you sit down with your banker and are able to explain and express to them your needs as a business, they will be able to understand what it is that you're doing and provide you the working capital that you require. The second pillar, as I have also talked about, is about business expansion. I know that you are business people, and that's why you are not bankers. And there's a world of difference between the two. And I've come into situations where there is a huge dialogue, almost heated sometimes, between business people and bankers. I believe partnership is the key to actually solving this particular challenge. Why do I say that? Because you as business people are able to identify opportunities out there in the market much better than I will, because my job is typically a desk job. So I'll sit down and look at your financial statements and say, this doesn't look right, and there is a problem here, and you need to fix this. And to a great extent, I may be correct. But guess what? You look through a different lens when you're saying, I want to expand my business. So you will start a construction, say, of a warehouse, or you will start building your own residential house, or you will take out some money for various purposes, buy a nicer car, etc., etc. That's typical of Kenyans today. There's a scenario called the plot. You will see a nice plot which is selling out there, and you want to invest in that. No problem with that, but the critical thing is to sit with your banker at a good enough time, early enough in the day, and say, these are my plans, these are my projections, would you come and assist me in this particular venture? We have on occasions come across people who, unfortunately, did not have that dialogue with their banker early enough, and came to a situation where they've actually taken money from their business and invested it in properties and all kinds of things to do their business expansion, and did not get the right funding. And then they come to the bank when there's a crisis, when they can no longer pay their supplier, and it becomes a much more difficult discussion and a much more difficult challenge to be able to address at that point in time. So my key message to us as top 100 mid-sized companies who are growing and are headed in the right direction is that develop a strong partnership and relationship with the bank, because they can make a huge contribution towards your business. Business protection. Many speakers today have spoken about currency fluctuation, which is a huge challenge today facing many of you who are doing importation of goods. And the currency rate, you really can never tell. There was a question in the panel earlier on in terms of, are you expecting it to get better? Are you expecting it to get worse? What's your forecast? And it's good to be not pessimistic, but optimistic, saying that I believe things will get better. But over and above that optimism, it is important that you plan your business wisely and possibly consider what key factors can actually affect my business in the event that the currencies move against you. And that's why it is important that you start taking advantage of some of the solutions that are available in terms of protecting your business from currency fluctuations. Book $1 today, pay for it in the next 3 months when you don't know where the dollar rate will be. Right now, the dollar is trading at about how much? What's the price today? About what? 102. And we may think and feel that that's the highest it's going to get. I don't know. I'm not a foreign currency dealer, but there are some smart fellows who will sit in the office and will tell you, I think it will decline, or I think it will get stronger. You really do not know. I honestly believe that possibly only 5% of you, if any, had believed that the shilling within this year would trade above 100 shillings. Most of you in your best projections had said maybe like 85 shillings, 90 shillings, worst case scenario. But look where we are today. Make sure that you protect your business from this kind of volatility by taking things like forex forwards. And there is also the insurance that you can also take as a business to protect your business from this volatility. There is a proposal called a yield enhancement, which is the fourth pillar. What's the yield enhancement proposition? Many businesses today work very hard to earn the cash that they have as a business. And fortunately for a good number of them, they have been able to accumulate a nice pile of cash, which can sit in the bank, making money for you. And I think it is important that you as business people are having access to the wide range of solutions that can be available to you as a business person for purposes of growing your wealth over and above that you already have today. There's a gentleman who's called Warren Buffett, who I think many of you know. And he's a guru, and he's a financial guru. He's very smart in terms of investing in businesses. And he talks very passionately about taxation and the laws of taxation. And he says that the rich actually don't get taxed heavily. It's the poor who actually, or middle class, who actually take the burden of the taxation. And one of the things that he has actually identified is that if you're actually able to generate wealth and money using money instead of hard labor, instead of going as a worker like I am, or an employee like other people may be out there, apart from you guys, if you're able to actually invest money and make more money with that particular investment, the tax rate is actually significantly lower. Now I want to ask a question. What is a corporate tax rate for a business? Your business profits. What's a corporate tax rate? What's a corporation tax rate that is applicable today? It's around about 32%. Now, 32%, somewhere there, 32% there. If you invest the same funds, say in a treasury bill, for example, what's the tax rate on treasury bills, withholding tax? 15%. Yeah? So it actually is true. That man has some wisdom. So with that kind of cash that you actually accumulated, as a bank, we are able to provide you solutions that will make you more efficient in your tax planning and continue to generate wealth. Now, there's a whole suite of products that are available, as was displayed, which, if you could just display that, will include various things like investments offshore. Just one slide up. Right there. Savings accounts, term deposits, bonds, unsecured. These are investment solutions which are not only available here in the country, but also available outside of the country. And Standard Chartered is actually able to deliver this kind of yield enhancement to you. And so that comprises of our very strong pillars that we are offering to you as business people. There are 4 pillars, as I mentioned: working capital, business expansion, business protection, and yield enhancement. And I believe that with those kind of solutions, once you take full advantage of those, you as a business person will be able to benefit from our whole range of products as a bank. Now, I want to finalize my presentation with this little extra, because the world is basically turning towards technology and all of that. Unfortunately, we started the day mourning the loss of Steve Jobs, who's been a guru in Apple, computer, etc., in the computing industry. But it's amazing how much power that has been available and released to us as business people by using technology. And there are solutions that you're actually able to use as a business person to improve your efficiency as a business and also reduce your costs. Costs are one of those things which are a big agenda item for any business. You'll always be looking for ways to reduce your costs. There are technological solutions that are available to you as a business person to be able to manage your costs. Some of these may be travel time. You no longer have to walk into a bank to be able to make a remittance, either internally or out of the country. You no longer have to actually go and physically collect cash from the bank to be able to pay your wages. There are solutions which are actually available to you as business people so that you can improve efficiency. And we are urging you that you speak to us and take full advantage of some of these benefits. Cash in transit provides you with security. You don't have to worry about getting robbed on the way with the nature of insecurity that may be there. We talk about Vision 2030, and one of the questions I wanted to ask when I was in the panel over there was, what contribution do you have as business people in terms of being able to really address the Vision 2030 as a real challenge for you as business people? And why did I want to ask that question? The reason for that is because we are churning out a lot of university graduates every year from our institutions of learning. When I was growing up, I think there were just 4 public universities or thereabout. Now there are so many more. And so graduates are being churned out every day into our economy on an ongoing basis. Unfortunately, the rate of growth of industry has not been as fast. And so we will continue to have the challenge of joblessness. And joblessness leads to insecurity. And so we as business people, you as business people, are able to make huge contributions towards changing that particular dynamic, expanding your businesses, employing more people, having livelihoods which are being supported by the businesses that you've actually run. And that's the sort of thing that really you as top 100 mid-sized companies should actually be taking. I want to finish my presentation with this little story. You have done everything that you have as a business person, but I want to illustrate that there is another thing that possibly you could consider. There was a man who confessed to be an atheist. I don't believe in God. There is no God. I don't believe in God. And so he just carried on with his life as usual. And one day he was walking along a street somewhere, enjoying life, looking at beautiful trees and grapes growing and apples falling all over the place and the green grass. And he basically says, this is the Big Bang, and this is the result of the Big Bang. And the streams of water are flowing, very nice environment. And then suddenly from behind the bushes popped up this huge grizzly bear. And it came rolling and running towards him. And he realized, my goodness, I am in so much trouble. And so he said, quickly he thought, what am I going to do? And then he suddenly remembered, you know, I always say that I am an atheist. But just in case that there is a God up there, maybe I could cry out to him. And then he realized, maybe it would be too hypothetical, hypocritical, if I asked that he may save me. So he said, dear Lord, would you make the bear a Christian? And while the big bear was coming at him, when, you know, there was this loud voice that said, okay, bear, become a Christian. So the bear put down its paws, held its hands together, and said, for this food that I'm about to eat, bless the Lord. There is a factor beyond your business and your ingenuity. Possibly, there is help from above. So guys, all the best as you continue with your endeavors to grow industry and to participate in the growth of our GDP as a country, create employment for our business, for our young people as they continue to grow. I wish you the really very best, and I hope that you will consider Standard Chartered as your preferred banking partner. Have a good afternoon.